you're listening to On the Road, a podcast powered by Otto Car. One thing I'd like to kind of point out is that because of the introduction of Uber, it's kind of changed the game in the sense that a lot of people were taking minicabs where they might have not been doing that beforehand. So, for example, you might not have had the black cabs around on the outskirts of London. So, for example, in Barnet or Hendon or Harrow or whatever, and therefore, it's opened up a whole new market for new riders that might have not been there, let's say, 5 or 6 years ago.
Most definitely. Traditionally,
is that because of the amount of vehicles there are in Uber, or is that because of the price? And it's so cheap to get in.
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I agree.
So looking back, prior to app-based services and Uber specifically,
was you born in?
I'm an old man. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm 40 years old next year. I'll have you know. But when I was younger, and all of the minicabs were like local firms, you was out in a different area to your own area, you would have to ask somebody for the local minicab number, and then you would call them up, and then you're having to try and explain where you are, and then they'll tell you 10 minutes, for example.
It's like a different world, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. So you wait 10 minutes, the car doesn't turn up. So you say, okay, I'll give it another 5 minutes, and the car doesn't turn up. So you ring the company back up, and they're like, oh yeah, in 10 minutes. Then you just end up waiting for this car to come, and the car comes like about 25 minutes later. But that's the way things work. Or you walk down to the local minicab office and you jump in a car, and then you navigate for the driver to where you want to go, because quite typically they didn't know the area that you was going to and the local rat runs in your local area. So you'll be the navigator for your minicab driver a lot of the time.
Yeah, but you have to get around. You have to keep it real. And that back in the day, I was charging £5 minimum fare in a local minicab company, and here we are in 2019, still charging £5 minimum fare.
Yeah,
and the difference back then was you could drive an old banger and you get high reward insurance from the bloke down the road who was cheap as chips. But now we're all expected to drive around in a brand new vehicle, paying quite a lot of charges. Now we've got ULEZ, now we've got congestion charge, and now it's £5, still £5 minimum fare. In 2019, we should be above £2 per mile.
Yes.
And you say that the customer, a Vivan customer, broke my heart when he turned around and said to me, I used to get the train, but now I use Vivan. I buy a Vivan pass.
Is that a subscription model?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's so many rides at a discounted price.
Yeah.
So I said, but you're one person in one car. If everyone done that, the roads wouldn't move. Mm-hmm. That's what trains are for. But he said Vivan's cheaper, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, look, price definitely plays a key part in this. People obviously want to find the cheapest way to get from A to B, but I do think accessibility is definitely and efficiency is a key thing here as well. So where it might have been a lot harder to get a minicab out in the sticks 5-6 years ago, now it's just a tap of a button. 2-3 minutes it comes to your house and takes you from A to B.
But the problem is that we've got technology's moved on way faster than regulation, and regulation is always slow. And TfL, if you're listening, they're slow in everything they do. Even just applying for your license takes some people 3, 4, 5 months a year.
Yeah, 6 months.
Delays in getting your those drivers that already got a license, getting their next license on taxi and private hire, delays. So it just breaks my heart that the prices that we're driving at now to where we should be. The taxis, from you listening to the customers, taxis are too expensive. Private hire, in my opinion, is too cheap. So we need to change. Something needs to change to protect the black cabs, because they're an icon of London.
Of course.
But also, not to flood the private hire industry with cheap vehicles, because there's a report saying there's bus passengers are decreasing in London, and no one talks about it. Yeah, they mention it, but they don't know why. People are cycling more. People are getting walking.
Well, I think that's the reason why TfL probably.
I think it's part of a reason, but I do think another reason is that private hire is so cheap now that people will call you up and they will get a car going half a mile down the road.
Oh, I've had that on many occasions.
Many occasions,
yes.
yeah. And it's just because it's so cheap.
Yeah, and it's convenient.
It's convenient and cheap.
Yes.
I can't confirm it, but I think definitely the TfL extending to the night tube and having this service has definitely, Uber and the app-based operators have definitely played a part in that happening pretty much quicker than they're probably anticipating. And therefore, being able to get a tube now at 2 a.m. from Camden all the way up back to zone 5 and 6 wasn't a thing a few years ago now.
But to be fair to Uber, since I joined in November, we've had 3 price increases. I think the race to the bottom of the industry is over. I think now, with more apps coming in, there's a finite number of drivers. I mean, the number always seems to hover around between its peak. I think it's 125.
Yeah.
We're at 106 now, I think. But there's only 86,000 vehicles. So a lot of drivers, what they're doing, they're coming into the industry. It's not working out for them. They've got a 3-year allocated license, but they're not working. You know.
Do you not think that with the new operators coming in, and there's obviously something we want to talk about in future episodes was about the new operators, that would then push the price back down again? Because obviously they're going to try
I think the race. I think the race to
for
the
competition for riders.
My personal view, I think we've seen the race to the bottom is over, because if other apps do come in and try and undercut Uber, the type of customer that goes for that is the type of customer that's currently on Viavan. You know, bruv, Oxcod. That type of customer, which is not
quite sure what that is, but we'll
not the type
move
of
on.
customer I want to pick up. You know,